xinyafacedotcom. So spell it out. Let me spell it one more time. xinyafacedotcom. You spell the whole thing out.
Rise in love, family. It is I, yours truly, xinyafacedotcom. And I'm back with an unorthodox video for y'all this time around. It is me engaging in a bit of self-care where I cut my own hair. And I know I'm used to making vlog style videos or interviews, going to events, things of that nature. But I was inspired recently by checking out different content creators that I follow and folks that I've seen as I've tried to explore and learn more about videography and cinematic filmmaking and things of that sort. Is I was actually getting used to the idea of filming myself doing things that I do regularly, whether that's to have a library of like behind the scenes footage or to get like B-roll footage of myself. I just have been getting into this practice and this routine of kind of thinking of everything as content. Shout out to my brother and my sister for that one. But so right now I'm actually going through the process of cutting my hair. And while I do that, I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about my history with cutting my hair, right? And maybe I'll talk about my locks a little bit on this one as well. But I've been cutting my own hair since I was like 17 or 18 years old. So it's been nearly 20 years or so. And I would like to think that over the years, I've gotten better at cutting my own hair. Definitely better than that one time I let the guard slip and ended up needing to cosplay as a Ninja Turtle when I went to my senior prom. And yeah, if you haven't gotten it by now, I'm trying to let y'all know that I had to shave my head bald because as I was trying to line myself up, I think, you know, my hand slipped or something like that. I was doing something, I can't remember specifically what it was, but I made an error that I could not fix. There was no way to try to make a fancy part or make it into a style or anything like that. So I messed up enough where I needed to shave my entire head. So I embraced it. Instead of me just, you know, hitting it with the clippers, I think I ended up using a razor and like cutting it clean bald. So it was pretty entertaining by the time I got to my prom, but it was definitely a learning moment in terms of trying to cut my own hair. Some of the pitfalls that I might be putting myself at risk of, right, and engaging in that. But I've gotten better over the years, done some different things, some wacky stuff leading up to me actually having my locks, right? But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, right? So I was already used to cutting my own hair, and I've lived all over the country. I've moved to different states just pursuing work and just trying to explore and trying to find different communities, meet different people, learn more about different cultures, stuff like that, right? And it's been quite a ride, but as I've gone to each different place, I had already started from where I'm from in Chicago with clippers and cutting my own hair. So I just kind of continued that practice. The other reason I continue doing that is because when I would go to places, to new places, move somewhere, and maybe I didn't have my clippers or I was trying to get it cleaned up, I didn't feel like doing it, whatever, I would try to find a good barber, go in and try to get some work. And unfortunately, numerous times I had issues with the barbers. I mean, like I went into one barbershop, I remember this was in Connecticut, and I told the dude very specifically, I'm like, I don't want too much length off the top. I just want it shaped up. I think I don't remember if I was doing my Usher South of France style haircut or what at this time, or like a little mini fro kind of thing. But I was kind of shaving the sides lower and kind of letting the top and the back grow out more. And so I just needed it like trimmed and evened out. And Buddy ended up like shaping up into this little baby fro, made me look like I jumped out of a 70s movie or something, right? So I was salty about that, right? Another time I'm moving around, I'm going to some place and get with a barber that I think is solid. Lineup gets pushed back, right? I'm like, dude, you're killing me, right? I got specific kind of hair, like my hair, there's a spot in my hair where I got like a cowlick. I got a reverse widow's peak or whatever. It looks like a little bald spot in the middle of my hairline, right? But it's not. I was trying to get information from my mom, like, Mom, was it always like this when I was a kid, or am I remembering correctly that I busted my head on a fish tank when I was a kid? She was like, I plead the fifth. I don't remember nothing like that. But anyway, so I got stuff like that. I got, my hairline, although pretty solid, is receding a little bit on the right side. And so I'm going into barbers and I'm telling them and giving them this information and saying, hey, beware of this, watch out for that, all that sort of stuff, and still end up having results that I'm not necessarily happy with. And guess what? It is a business. I am paying for a service, and they give me a service and there's a charge for the service. And then at the end of it, I'm like, well, I'm not necessarily happy with it, but I haven't withheld payment. So instead of doing that, right, instead of being like, no, I'm not paying you for this, that type of energy, I just rolled with the punches and decided I could trust myself more than I could trust somebody else. You dig? Especially a stranger, somebody that I haven't established myself with or know anybody personally who's gotten cuts from this person. So I got into the habit of just cutting my own hair. Plus, I can live with mistakes that I make at home where I maybe put my fade up a little bit higher on one side, or, my lineup is a little crooked or something like that, right? Because I'm not paying $30 to $40 for that mess up, right? My hair's been pretty strong in terms of growing back and stuff like that. And so little mistakes like that, I can usually live with. Or if my fade isn't necessarily like super clean, right? I can live with those things. So that's really how I gotten into the habit of cutting my own hair. Now, shout out to my brother, D Gaines. He's a year older than me. He started losing his hair when he was 23. So he's still in college at this time, or getting ready to graduate college. So it might've been when he was 22, but he's a year older than me. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I've never really grown my hair out long. I've seen baby pictures of me with long hair, but I've never grown my hair out long. My hair grows super slow. The few times that I've tried to do it in high school, it grew so slow that I was like, bro, I don't have the patience for it. I didn't have the patience, nor did I have the ability to deal with, the dog eat dog, joke on joke kind of environment that was very prevalent in my high school, to deal with people clowning me while I was going through the middling funky phase of my hair. So anyway, fast forward to my brother starting to pop up in pictures and his hair looking sparse in certain areas. And I was like, oh no, the time, it's father time or whatever, my genes are coming for me, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I think at this time or around this time, I made a decision as I was doing some haircuts. I think I decided to do No Shave November. And at the same time as I did No Shave November, I think I decided, okay, besides like giving myself lineups, lining up my beard or lining up my hairline or something like that, I'm not going to touch my hair or my beard. And so by the end of it, I was looking kind of crazy. Like it was the longest my beard had gotten ever. And my hair had gotten pretty long in that time frame as well. I think I held out for a little bit longer. So then I started doing wild, wacky kind of haircuts. I was doing the Usher South of France, right? Which is like it's like a fade, but not, it's a fade just on the sides pretty much, right? Like, or like a wide mohawk kind of deal, you know what I mean? So I was doing stuff like that. I did all other kind of mohawks. I dyed my hair, I relaxed my hair, I did all kind of stuff because I was like, look, let me enjoy it while I can. And that's over the course of a couple years. So then eventually I ended up doing like a twist out with my hair, like a couple twist outs with my hair. And I actually liked the way it looked. And I was like, oh man, this is kind of banging. And over this period of time, I like grew my hair out, dyed it, cut it, grew it out again, did a different style, cut it again, right? And so I had kind of gone through levels at this point. I had gone through a couple cycles, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I did the twist out, and I finally started thinking to myself, like, I think I'm gonna do locks. And I thought about it and was like, you know what? That's gonna be the last thing that I do, like big thing that I do with my hair. I'm gonna put locks in. And I was inspired by this dude that I saw. I was living in Colorado at the time, and there was a festival or some kind of event that was happening downtown. And I saw this black dude walking down the street, seemed super happy, but he had long, like at least shoulder length locks, and they were like black. His hair was like dark and gray, like there was a bunch of gray hair growing through it as well. And he just looked so black and happy and joyous. And I was like, you know what? That's it right there. I know that really inspired part of my decision to finally do it, but to put locks in my hair. And so I'm doing this for the long haul. And the only time that I did trim my hair was last year, was the first time I actually trimmed them, following my dyeing my hair to match up with one of my nephews or whatever, but that's a side story. But anyway, so this whole process of me cutting my hair has really become time that I can focus on myself and do self-care that I might not be able to do otherwise. And so I really do appreciate it when I am able to do it, right? And so I'd like to think I've gotten better over time, right? That I've learned a thing or two here or there. And, you know, the results kind of speak for themselves, but let me know what you think. I would love to hear your feedback on how you think I did with this cut. I didn't want to go through step by step and say, oh, this is what I'm doing at this stage. This is what I'm doing at this stage, blah, 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 blah. But check it out, watch the video, listen to me, and give me your feedback about how well I did. And if you got any tips for me on how I can improve my process moving forward, let me know. And I don't need recommendations at this time for a different barber. I think I'm pretty solid. But in between time, in the meantime, this is this cut. So thanks for tuning in. And I hope to see you on the next one. Sa. Peace.